Good. Okay. Right.
Here we are again drinking coffee, Sandra.
Yes, yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for joining us to another coffee break. We're bringing you an interesting topic, and we look forward to a lot of questions and interactions. But before we go into the matter, first of all, I'd like to introduce each other. I'm Sandra Rincon. I'm the founder and president of the NL Alumni Network in the Netherlands. And as many of you might know, this is the International Alumni, Student and Alumni Association of people who reside in the Netherlands. So hope you continue to join us. And I'd like to introduce Maria Lucia, who is leading two very important initiatives also under the NL Alumni Network Netherlands, and that is Here to Start and Here to Work. And maybe Maria Lucia, would you like to just say a little bit about those two very, very important initiatives that we've been hosting a lot of events throughout these last 2 years?
My pleasure. Well, I just had the espresso, so I can go really fast on this one because I want to give all the protagonism to Wietse, who's going to be talking today about how to make even more money, how to save money. So about Here to Start and Here to Work, well, as you mentioned it, we under the umbrella of NL Alumni Network, well, we are students and international alumni in the Netherlands. And the idea is to help you transition, like from the academy to the job market or to entrepreneurship. And even if you didn't land it in the Netherlands as a student or alumni yourself, we welcome everybody to understand how it works to work in the Netherlands, how it works to create your business in the Netherlands. And that's why we create these two brands, Here to Work and Here to Start. And what we keep us busy is to actually host these events for our community. Now, well, 100% virtual, but we hope that we can go hybrid anytime soon. Mm-hmm. So that's the plan. What we want is to serve at this platform, at this community that helps you with everything you need to know as an international, to navigate not only the uncertainty and all the different things among our cultures, but also to best land your talent and the best of yourself into an amazing country like the Netherlands, right? So That's the plan. That's what we do at Here to Work and Here to Start. And as is common for both, we all need to know, especially during these times, how to make the best out of our resources, right? So that's why we picked these topics. By the way, by the end of this event, we're going to also share a link on the topics that you suggest. We create our agenda or calendars based on what you need. So we are talking, and you can follow us on YouTube to understand the range of topics that we're bringing to your table. Make sure that you let us know what is interesting for you. Yeah, so with this, I'm really happy to introduce Wietse, and then I leave you two to talk around around saving money with really nice coffee. Hey, there he is.
Yes, hey guys. I also got my mug here.
Bam. Good. We have coffee, boom.
Yes,
and we
boom.
have Prost. So we have a local in the house. I'm really happy to mention a little bit about the story. We met on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, and he was just, I quit my job and I'm going to launch this amazing YouTube channel on financials and helping people with this topic that is always for everybody is like tricky, right? Especially if you're not from the Netherlands and you don't know where to go. And if you spend so many years going to the Albert Heijn and then you realize there's little, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I found it really amazing that you're doing this. First of all, congrats on starting a YouTube channel on the mission of helping people with their financials. And second, we're really happy to welcome you here in this space for our community, to bombard you with all sorts of questions. Remember, everybody, there's no stupid questions. We're going to be checking everything via the chat, post everything via chat, and Sandra is going to be hosting and moderating the questions to make sure that we take the best out of these 26 minutes, well, the time we have left. Okay, we can always stretch it for you guys, so make sure to just talk to us about all your dilemmas, Netherlands or not, in general, how to save even more money, right?
Yes.
That's it. Best of luck. I'm going to be watching you. Okay.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. Wietse, nice to meet you and welcome, and wonderful to have you here. And thank you again for your willingness to share so much of your knowledge on this topic that as we all know, especially in the times of the pandemic, there is a lot of uncertainty on the future of our jobs, the future of, how those jobs will be generated, and how will the economy really bounce back, right? So this topic is very, very, very relevant to us, to all of us now. So first of all, let's go into the matter in terms of why is this so important? Why is saving so important now?
Yeah. Well, of course, saving is always important, but especially right now, because, well, first of all, everyone knows the saying, money makes the world go round. And that basically means that people do anything to earn money, because money is what you need to buy things, to buy food, pay the rent, pay your mortgage. So it's really important to have money in the bank. And people work very hard to earn money, but sometimes what they overlook is to save money. And a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. But what if something happens, like, for example, COVID, and you get fired, and it's not even your fault, but you lose your paycheck, you lose your steady income, and you have no money in the bank? Well, first of all, that causes a lot of stress, of course, because you do have to pay your bills. You can maybe even lose your house. So it's really important that you save money, because if you have, let's say, 3 months of monthly expenses on your bank account, you have some time. It gives you the time to look at your options, to find a new job. So that really helps with stress. It really helps with a peace of mind, and also stay calm, because if you have no money, you have to do anything to get a new job or something else, but maybe you don't like that job so much. And in the short term, it gives you income, but in the long term, it will probably make you unhappy or unmotivated, and that can really kill your joy in life. So that can also really help with that, of course. So
yeah. Well, so we're talking about that savings actually has an impact in your life in terms of at least releasing some of the stress, and you talked about at least having a 3-month sort of savings,
like financial buffer. Yeah,
there we go, the financial buffer for at least 3 months. But is that a realistic target, or is that the minimum target? How do we calculate, okay, what should be my buffer?
Yeah. Well, it also really depends on your situation, of course. I mean, if you still live at home with your parents, you might not need as much savings as when you have your own family, your own house, your own car, etc. But typically, they advise to have 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses as a financial buffer. So, yeah, how do you calculate that? First, it's really important that you have a budget. That's always what I advise people if they want to save money. Make a budget. Go through your bank statements. Look at where is the money going. Try to categorize it. How much am I spending on food? How much on housing, etc. And then multiply the monthly amount by at least 3. And then you can calculate, okay, I need this amount to have a good financial buffer in case something happens.
So, okay. Well, I actually have never done that. So this is really an eye opener in terms of so that's really, really good. But so that 3 to 6 month budget, is that like based on your salary, or based on what you're actually spending and what you see your what you mentioned, your bank statement, and then calculate, multiply that by 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what your monthly expenses are, because and it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people think how much they earn is what they can spend per month, and that's where a lot of people make a mistake, because if you do that, you will always live paycheck to paycheck, and you will work your whole life to be able to make ends meet. And what I do is I look at how much do I spend, and the rest I try to save and invest. And that way I'm trying to build a passive income stream, so I eventually don't have to work anymore and still earn money. That's my ultimate goal. Yeah.
Okay. Now then you've come to an interesting topic here. So we're saving, we need to have a minimum of 3 month buffer, preferably 6,
Yes.
just in case, we don't have a job and or if we're staying with family and with our parents or whatever. I think that's probably the best time to save money, right? Because we
Yeah, for
probably don't
sure.
have as many expenses. But anyway,
Exactly.
but now what you're saying is, okay, now you have a buffer, you have a job, and what do you do with that, with investment, right?
Yeah.
With that money, how do you go about investing, and yeah, give us some insights in terms of how would I go about investing savings.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you established a good financial buffer, that's really important before you start investing. Because if you invest with money that you need maybe next month or in 2 months, and your investment went down just in that month, and you have to sell it off, then you made a loss. And what's really important with investing is that you have a long time horizon, that you say, okay, I'm investing this money right now, and I will maybe take it out in 10 years or 15 years. So if you do that with money that you can't miss, you cannot do that. So that's really important. That's why the financial buffer is so important. Because if you invest money after that and you lose a little, it's okay because you still have your money in the bank to pay your bills in case of something happens. And as far as where should I invest in, there's many different categories. So it really depends on your situation. Like, do you want to invest a lot of time learning about investing, researching? Like I do, for example, I do literally every day 2 or 3 hours reading financial statements. I'm in groups. I do a lot of research. Um, so not everyone can do that, and not everybody thinks that's interesting or nice. So what I typically advise, if you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of knowledge, is to invest in an ETF that is worldwide and covers all the different sectors. That would
what
be
what,
the
what is
yeah.
that? What is an ETF, you called it?
Yeah, ETF. It stands for exchange traded funds, and it's basically how you say it, a basket of different stocks. So, for example, some people might know the S&P 500. Those are the 500 biggest companies in America. And instead of buying stocks from all those 500 companies one by one, you can just buy the S&P 500, and then you are invested in 500 different companies in the US. So that,
Okay.
yeah, so you buy just one and you are invested in Apple, in Microsoft, in Tesla. And so then your money is divided over different sectors. So if you go, for example, to the financial crisis and you were invested in banks, you would have lost a lot of money. But if you were invested in an ETF, okay, maybe the banks were going down a little, but other sectors could stabilize your money, so to say. So you limit your risk.
And okay, so I'm gonna play here, very very innocent in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah,
not knowing. So how do I go about finding these baskets, or do I go to the bank and ask there, or do I call somebody? How do I go about doing that?
yeah. Well, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel,
Okay.
I make a lot of videos on how to actually do it. But of course, you can just look up online.
Okay.
But there's many different companies that offer these kind of investment types. So in
Okay.
the Netherlands, you have, for example, Box or the Giro. Those are brokers, and they offer stock trading or ETFs. And what I do, or if you don't want to research a lot, I would advise choose an ETF that's worldwide over all the sectors. And if you just type that in Google, ETF worldwide, there will be many options. And if you just choose one, that would be the easiest way to go, I think. Yeah.
Um, let's see. Well, thank you. There's a question coming up. How much percentage of your income do you advise to invest or save?
Yeah. Yeah. Also very depending on your personal situation, of course. but yeah, I would go for at least 10%. If you put 10% of your money in savings, that would be a great start. And the goal is, of course, to do as much as possible, but I think 10% should be doable for everyone.
Of your salary. I see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, oh, nice. Well, a lot of us are concerned about the environment, right? And
yeah.
when we're talking about investment, how, if I'm somebody who wants to invest more on the green sector, how do
Mm-hmm.
I go about looking into that kind of sustainability, supporting the planet, supporting sustainability? How do I go
Yeah.
about doing that?
Yeah, you actually also have an ETF or a sustainability ETF that invests solely in companies that are focusing on green energy or those kind of things. So yeah, and if you want to invest in individual stocks, you have to do a lot of research. You have to go through all the statements, the annual reports. So that can take a lot of time, but yeah, I guess you can do that.
Yeah. Here's another question: how to start saving money? Well,
Yeah. Yeah, like I said before, I think the first step is to start to have a budget. Because if you don't know how much money you're making or how much money you're spending, you will never be able to save money. So I always advise to go back through your bank statements of at least 3 months, check what did I spend, how much money, what are the categories, and then make an average of that and write it down. And how it worked for me was the first month that I made a budget, I still had to pay like 3 people back. I always had no money at the end of the month. But what I did was at some point it becomes like a game. You're like, okay, this month I spent 200 euros on groceries. Maybe next month I can do 180. Or hey, I'm spending 50 euros on my phone. Why so much? Maybe I can do it even cheaper. So if you start with a budget, you keep tracking your expenses, and you do it every week, maybe 50 minutes. You will get great insight on where you're spending money on, and then you can say, "Hey, I don't even use this. Why am I spending so much money on clothes? Why am I doing this?" And then you can cut back um, and start saving. So that's where I should start. I would
yeah.
start. Yeah.
No, that's. Thank you. Let's see. There's another question. Would an extra pension be an option for young professionals, and how do we go about setting it up? Well, there we go. That's a good one in terms of investment for the future, right?
Yeah. So what do you mean via your employer or?
I think separate, if say, now there's a lot of flexibility in jobs, and I would imagine in the
Yeah,
future there would even be more. So we'll have to be much more aware of, how are we going to take care of ourselves if we don't necessarily depend on the government or your employer, or if you're an entrepreneur, how do you go about setting up a
yeah.
pension system,
All right.
program?
Yeah, that's actually also why I started investing, because I also don't believe in the pension how it is, and I think I don't want to depend on the government. When I'm older, I don't want to work anymore, so that's why I started investing. So again, if you just invest steadily every month the same amount in an ETF, I think you cannot really go wrong. Historically, you make about 7 or 8% on your investment if you at least invest for 10 to 15 years, and just invest it, don't look at it, and just let it grow. And over time, you will see it will grow, and that can be your pension.
Okay, so you're seeing
Yeah,
also the investment as a way of building your pension. I see.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, Daniela is asking, what if my budget needs to be changed? Do you recommend adding an extra expense category?
Yeah, of course, everything in life can change, like for example, me last year, I became a dad. So that, of course, has a big influence on your budget. You need to buy a lot of things for your baby. So yeah, and that's a budget. It's not set in stone. It's a tool that helps you get insight in your spending, And if something changes, then you also need to change your budget.
Yeah. Great. So I mean, just kind of for myself, just kind of a summary. It's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting from you is it's really important to save. We need to save at least 10% of our salary if that's possible. But before we even start doing that, we need to take a look at what's our behavior, right? Look
Exactly.
back at our bank statements for the last 3 months, see what in my case what my behavior would be in terms of spending, make categories of food to your car, whatever
Exactly.
major big expenses we're having, of course the rent, the electricity, all those things. You make categories of that and see how you're spending, and then you start also looking at, well, where can I reduce, where can I actually reduce so that I can put some money to savings. And when
Yeah.
I do have been able to at least say, oh, I can actually save 10% of my salary, then that money, after I've accumulated for at least 3 to 6 months, I can take a look at how do I invest it and invest it in an ETF,
Yeah.
preferably a basket, right? A basket
Ex-
ETF that,
exactly.
is worldwide. And if you're a person like me who's concerned about the planet and sustainability, then I would look into green energy and those kinds of things, and then
Exactly.
just put it aside and don't touch it for another 10 years, and you will see this money grow between 7 and 8%, right?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Of
so
course.
on the
How you
average.
say? Yeah. Exactly. If you look back 100 years, you will see that on average the stock market grew 7-8%. So of course, in one year it can differ. Like for example, last year with COVID, it went down 50%, but after that it went up
Yeah,
60%. So you,
yeah.
in the short term, you never know. But that's why I'm saying if you do it at least for 10 to 15 years, then it averages out over time, because
Okay.
there will always be a crisis going on, but in general, the economy tends to go up. Yeah.
Great. One more question here from
Yes.
Natalia. Do ETFs allow me to withdraw my money when I need it? In these uncertain times, I don't know when I will need the money, and I want to have access to it when I need it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I would really suggest to not invest if you cannot miss the money and you might need it in the short term. Then I would really focus first on building a financial buffer and then start investing. But if you invest in ETFs, you can always withdraw your money.
What's I mean, for young people, what's the amount of a buffer? Are we talking about once you have 3,000 euros or 5,000 euros or something like that? Or you're saying, no, 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 until you have 10,000, don't even start thinking about investing?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, of course, it's a recommendation. You can
Yeah.
always do what you want, but I would really look at your monthly expenses. So there's not really a set amount. If you only spend 500 per month, then maybe if you have 1,000 euros, okay, you're good to go. But if you have a house, you have a mortgage, you have a car, all those things, and you spend 2,000, 3,000 euros per month, then I would recommend to do 6 or 9,000 euros. So it really depends on your situation. I would just go with the 3 times your monthly expenses.
Yeah. Well, great. Those are wonderful tips, and I
Yeah,
I have learned quite a bit today,
very
especially
good.
in the whole concept of budgeting and being strategic about how you spend your money and
Yeah,
categorizing your looking at your own behavior rather than taking somebody else's way of spending or not spending, right? More in terms of what's intrinsic to
exactly.
for yourself. One more last question: what platforms do you recommend to start investing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I use 3 different brokers in the Netherlands. That's Box, Box X, Box Zero, and the Giro. And those allow you to buy individual stocks and also ETFs.
Okay. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Before we still have 5 more minutes, but I'm going to have Maria Lucia jump in. Wietse,
All right.
before we say goodbye, is there anything that you would like to add?
Yes. If people are interested in learning more about how to handle your financials, how to save more money, how to budget more. I started a YouTube channel about these topics. I also show my own investment portfolio where I share which stocks I buy, and I do an analysis on why, what does the company, why am I investing in it, where am I investing in it. So if you think that's interesting and you want to learn more about it, yeah, go check out my YouTube channel, and yeah, maybe you can learn something from that. And also, I made a budget template myself on Excel, and I will leave a link for you guys so you can use it and start budgeting.
Thank you. I will
Yes.
definitely use that one. I need to use that. Thank you so much, Wietse. I really appreciate it. You're sharing so much knowledge and encouragement to all of us. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, Maria Lucia, I'll let you close. Please, we can end
Oh,
you.
you're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Moment. Yeah, there you go. So basically, thank you for this. Super useful. I took like a bunch of notes, and also we share here via the chat that if you haven't registered to this event and you want to receive an email with this, with the video resources and everything that Wietse just mentioned, make sure that you send us your email address and feedback in general to our email info@heretowork.nl. And of course, this is our YouTube channel, so you can also subscribe to access to future events. We have, well, our community is big enough in the Netherlands and also abroad, so we welcome you to join and to also make proposals for future topics, not only about new topics, but also to go more in depth, because here I see that we covered basics on budgeting, savings, and then we were talking about investments, and all these are different universes, I feel. So
Yeah.
two MI for one half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much more to discuss. Yeah.
But guys, in the end, this is just the introduction. We're just grabbing a coffee, and we're really happy to host a series of events around financials. I think that this is a huge topic for all of us, professionals, entrepreneurs. In the end, we need to navigate and also to learn how to do it locally, right? Because you were mentioning, things that work in the Netherlands, like funds or like investment opportunities in the Netherlands. Also, how to save. I will be really happy to host like a series of one-on-ones with Wietse. Like, here's my results of budgeting. Tell me, what can I do? If we have learned something about Dutch culture, is that they know about money.
That is true.
They're the best to save the penny, to save the euro, the cent, and then they make a wealth out of nowhere. So you have that magic stick, and we want to learn from you, and we're really happy to actually join forces with locals to understand how to make the best out of our resources. Resources are limited, time, money, and people. That's our resources. So we need to make sure that we make the best out of all of it. So thank you for this. We're going to be sending you all thank you email where you have all the links. Of course, this video for forever, so you can rewatch it, replay it, and also the resources that we just sent to the link and the link to the YouTube specific videos that are going to help you learn how to budget. Also, including the resource of a template for you to create, or for all of us to create our budget. I have to say, we have to do our homework and then come back to you. So yeah, I do a public invitation for next events with Wietse, having a more costume, or a more one-on-one follow-up on what to do, because of course it depends what you were mentioning, like how much should I budget, or what is my budget? It depends on your specific situation. So I'm really happy to invite you for a follow-up event after this one on this topic.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for this. Thank you for a lot of for the zip file that you just transferred to us. We need to unzip it with all this information. And everybody who's watching now and who's going to be watching this later, make sure that you share your email address so we can send you more information. And that way you can also subscribe to our channels and get invited to our upcoming events. Yeah, we host events twice per month for sure, sometimes even more. So make sure that you're in the loop and that you also suggest topics that are relevant for you right now. That's it. Thank
Say
you.
great. Thank
Thank,
you. Thank
Yes.
you
thank you,
all. Thank you
everybody
for
who's watching.
Thank you, guys.
having. Thank you.
We
Thank
stay in
you.
touch.